You are asking that the mind questions whether what this speaker is saying is trustworthy. You see, self-knowledge or devotion or realization is a most practical discipline. In this, the quest starts exactly because you experience a particular situation. The situation is of unrest. The situation is of incompleteness. Something bugging from inside. Since it is from the inside, so it is extremely obvious. You cannot deny it. You cannot question whether the dis-ease really exists. If you are experiencing it, it does. It is an insider thing. You don't even need an external benchmark to test or ascertain it. So that's how the whole quest starts. You're not feeling okay. That's how the whole thing starts. And then there is a spiritual process and there are varieties of processes. To what extent has a process been successful? That too is to be measured on the same practical criteria. I said the same criteria. Same as the one you started off with. What was the criteria? I am experiencing restlessness. So that's how you start off. I am experiencing restlessness. And then there is a medicative process. Whether or not the process is successful would be determined by only one thing. And what is that?
Choice.
What's inside? Like how?
Has the restlessness been reduced? And again here, you need not be uncertain. The proof is undeniable. What was the proof that you needed medication? You were feeling restless. Now there is a process. What is the proof that the process has succeeded or failed? If restlessness is gone, then the process succeeded. Now you are asking whether you need to trust this speaker. You don't need to trust me. The final proof lies within you. And what is that proof?
If you are restful.
Are you restful? If you are restful, then the process has succeeded. If you are not, then irrespective of how glorious or convincing or time-tested or authoritative the process appears to be, that process is a waste for you. We said it's a very, very practical thing. If after going through the process, if after coming in contact with the speaker, if having participated in the camp, the meandering, the wandering of the mind has eased off a bit, if suspicion and anger and worries have cooled down a little, then you need not go to somebody to ask whether this thing is beneficial for you. You are the proof. If you are experiencing relief, then you are the proof. Right? So, one cannot go wrong if one sticks to this fundamental principle. One cannot be fooled if one keeps asking this one honest question. And what is that question?
Am I?
The question is, it starts with dis-ease. Is it resulting in ease? Simple question. And that's something that all of us must ask ourselves. What is it that we are gaining? I'm loosely using the word gaining through this process. If you are gaining peace, continue with the process, irrespective of what your thoughts or doubts or opinions or suspicions about the process might be. If it is working out for you, don't deviate. And if it's not working out for you, then it doesn't matter how reputed the teacher is or how old and glorified the methods are. Drop everything. Be very, very particular about your aim. And the one single pointed aim of spirituality is ease, restfulness, peace. If you are getting nearer to your aim, walk straight. Like in tunnel vision, seeing neither left nor right. Please always be careful about this. It doesn't matter how many new concepts you have come across. It doesn't matter how glitzy and awe-inspiring are the ceremonies in a process or in an ashram. It doesn't matter how many are the followers of a particular way or a particular leader. The only thing that matters to you is your individual ease, your individual peace. If you are getting it, all is well. If you are not getting it, then nothing can be well. Never be overawed by somebody's reputation. At the same time, never be underwhelmed by somebody's anonymity. Both go together. It doesn't matter if a million people come up and say, we testify, it worked for us. How does it matter whether or not it worked for a million other people? It must work for you? That's the question to ask. Is it working for me? Is it dissolving my questions? Is it introducing me to something that is outside of me, beyond me? Ask that.
Till how much time we are allowed to ask that same question? Yeah.
For how long in your life do you keep breathing? For how long in your life, Prateek, do you keep breathing? For how long?
Lifelong.
It depends on your thirst for peace. Because we are body identified, so even a little gap in respiration becomes intolerable, right? But we don't have the same love for peace. If you have the same love for peace, then even a little distance from peace would appear equally intolerable or even more. You might even be prepared to give up respiration for the sake of peace. So, for how long do you have to stay put? How much price is to be paid? How much patience is to be exhibited? How taxing must be your sadhana? All this depends on the intensity of your love. It all depends on how much you love the real,